Thunder.
Yeah. All right, we're back from family trip. How was that going there, good sir? How'd that go?
The family trip was good, man. Overall, went to my wife's cousin's quinceanera, and we were in Pennsylvania, so we did a lot in the week. We had the quinceanera, then we went to New York for 2 days, and we did Philadelphia on the way back, and then we did an Amish tour. That was all within an 8 day span. And then we did some good old day drinking with family and some her cousins' friends and stuff. So it was a good time. But within that, made a poor decision. And I take ownership of it. But
Yeah.
the lessons learned, life happens. And at the end of the day, the trip overall was good family time. So I'm not really complaining, but it was needed. It was needed, like a good break in between. Plus, I hit my year mark on the 31st while on vacation from full retirement from the military. So,
Congratulations. What does that put
you know
you
what I
at?
mean?
21, 22?
It'll be 21 years. Well, based off SIPs and paper tracker, it'll be 21 years, 8 months total by the time I retire. So I'm excited. Technically, I only have 6 more months left until I'm done with my military duties and responsibilities. And then I'll be doing skill bridge and all those things, terminal leave and all that other stuff, starting in November until the end of till May of next year. So yeah, just gotta be patient. But anyways,
Hey, with all that excitement and all that coolness he's talking about over there, getting ready to retire because he's so old and his knees hurt, we got Stumpy Grump.
wow.
And we got Big Grump over here. We living our life, doing our best things. And matter of fact, we're going to talk about regrets, possible life choices, friendships that ended or should have ended, things that we've done and we possibly shouldn't have done.
On your downfall until one day it was just watch you on your downfall. Like, and those been coming over there, they will support you, they will pretend to support you. It's about what you believe in this moment, because this is about you. This isn't.
Got my man Big Grump on the other end, and your boy Stumpy Grump over here. Keep that on the swivel, and let's just some responses. Have a good time. It's incumbent.
Always. What's up,
Yeah.
Tom? How you doing?
Man, I think even though people always try to put it in different ways and say they don't live with regrets, I honestly think you do. You do live with regrets. Everybody has moments and times that they can go back and wish they could have redid or did better. Yes, did you learn a lesson from it? That's the positive. You learned a lesson from it, but you still kind of wish that there's that inkling part. You're like, dang, I could have did this better. But for me, I think the biggest regret I can honestly say is, and it's not, yeah, I'm going to say it. The biggest regret for me is not wanting to do more in my potential era. And they say your potential era is like your early 30s to coming on to your 40s or whatever. But I can't go back and sit on that and be like, oh man, I missed out on everything. No, there's still a lot of life left. So, but I got more time behind than I do ahead. So I got to just maximize now. But I think that's the biggest thing, is not wanting to learn more, and not just with, society, more about myself too. Like that's the biggest regret, and learning more and like understanding myself more and having a better mindset of life and the world and who I am and how I act tomorrow, how my aura is and all that stuff. And I going on the vacation kind of was just sit back and taking it all in. And I had a good conversation with one of her cousins, and she's like, well, when are you going to like explore, and when are you going to get more into that and know more about yourself? And I pretty much told her, I was like, yeah, when I retire. So, but she's like, why do you got to wait till you retire? And I couldn't give her a valid answer. Still now, I was like, for me, it's like, I think because there's other things, the way I want to explore, I can't do while I'm in the military. So I'm okay with that. But that's my biggest regret, is not maximizing my full potential during and learning more and learning how to be a better husband, better father, better all these things. I'm not saying I'm bad. I'm not perfect at everything. Nobody's gonna be perfect at everything, and everything is a learning process. But that's like, I could say by far overall is my biggest regret, is not paying attention to myself more in my potential area, in my potential and growth era of life, right? Supposedly. But I'm also a firm believer that life happens how it's supposed to happen. And then one other big thing is not digging more into the Navy instructions when it comes to family stuff. Because I had a situation which you know about with my family that I realistically should have went home for, but didn't have full understanding and did everything work out how it's supposed to, how it should have worked out. I can kind of say yes, but I can also kind of say no because I don't know what would have happened if I actually would have just been able to go home with my family and go from there. I don't know what would happen, but other than that, those are the two biggest things that I think I can honestly say I regret in life. And I've learned a lot of lessons with those. And all I can do now is just keep moving forward and keep the press on me realistically. And that's the biggest thing. I had, like I said, I had a lot of downtime even while I was in Philly and just kind of to take it all in. And sometimes you just got to press the button more on yourself than you do every pressing the things on the things that you got going on. That's really it. And should you hold on to regret? No, you shouldn't necessarily hold on to it, but just remember it. Give the part, so you can keep that lesson like in that first round. Okay, I know why I didn't do this. All right, I know, or why I should do this or whatever. So, what you got on it, man?
Well, like you said, people do have regrets, so they still think about situations that they could have changed and moments that they wish they could have went back to and changed those moments as well. And they already wish they could have did them different. Because once again, we always have choices in life depending on what the situation is and how it plays out. For me, um, it's almost like you. It's about career. It's mostly about career and friendships. Some points in my career, I should have took the responsibility when I was coming up, being a young sailor, and a lot of the things probably would have played out differently for me. And do I regret them? Yeah, because I'm obviously talking about them, but I use them as learning tools, especially when I was an instructor. I used to explain to students and how things went and how things probably could have went better if I tempered myself, calmed my temper a little bit more, and realized certain times people were trying to actually teach me and make me a better person versus it felt like they were just coming at me, right? And like you said, I was lucky to have a friend when I went to my first shore duty. He told me that he was like, "Hey, if you give the instructions, guess what? They can't do nothing to you. They can't they can't hurt you because it won't be going off tribal knowledge. It'll be going off things you actually know and learn. If you get deep in the instructions, if you got questions, always go search for the answer for you. Go search the answer for yourself first before you go ask anybody else. Right? That's how you get guidance. That's how you know if, oh, okay, cool, what this person is telling me is true. Because, hey, trust but verify is always a big statement, right? The other thing I learned, a big part along the way was, don't get me wrong, friendships are great to have. People, like we talk about all the time, people are trees. Some people are roots and some people are leaves. And people have seasons in your life. Some people are meant to stay forever, and some people are meant for a season and they come pass and go, but they teach you a lesson along the way. And I wish I would have learned that a little bit earlier, right? Because holding on to certain friendships or holding on to a certain situation longer than it did just cause you hurt in the long run. When it comes down to
Yeah.
it, because that gut punch, when literally life is giving you that signal, like, hey, you need to let this go, you need to move on, you need to. This person shouldn't be this close to you anymore because y'all outgrown each other. Be it they outgrown you or you outgrown them, or your lives are going different paths. Sometimes you gotta let certain things go. Be it, hey, this person might have saved my life. That's why I got undying loyalty to them. Or this person was there for me when a significant person in my life died. They're supposed to be there. They're meant to be there for that moment, right? They're meant to be there for that moment. But just saying, hey, this is the reason why we're still friends, and this is why we did that, and this is why the reason why we're trying to keep this together it's not a good excuse when literally sometimes y'all grow apart. Y'all go in different paths in life. Y'all got different things going on. Sometimes you gotta let some people go because that's what's holding y'all together majority of the time is because y'all know each other.
I want to add to
But
I want to say something that will. So I just seen a quote from this young gentleman on Instagram. He said, "You'll start to notice how much you don't have much in common with people once you stop sharing the same sin." And what you're saying is like one like is like on the freaking hitting the hammer on that. What's the quote? Hitting the nail on the head with the hammer, right? So like I totally agree with everything that you're saying. Like even myself, like growing up and like all my friendships that I have now, and I've had some that bounce back and forth or whatever, but some of them when I really start looking at it, they're like I want to change, and
what
I
are we
don't
doing?
want to be doing.
What are we
Yeah, what are we
about?
doing?
We don't have
Exactly.
about. We hit each other up, and that's the thing you start noticing. It. You hit certain people up on their birthdays because you got people saved in your phone, not just on Facebook. You just hit them up, or you hit the random, "Hey, how you doing? Just want to check in and see how you doing." Once again, there's nothing wrong with it. That's how life travels. It doesn't make y'all the moment that y'all had, and that's where I even told a lot of students this when I was going through the schoolhouse and training. I was like, this is the moment y'all find out if y'all really friends or not. At the end of the day, once y'all leave here and y'all go to y'all separate commands, yes, 110%. Some of y'all still hang out, some of y'all still chill because once again, y'all in the vicinity. What will truly determine it is when you go to different commands across the world and hey man, you still want to go take this vacation, it's still gonna be the question. A lot of people are still friends to this day because of vicinity. Right? Once you get out that vicinity, as we found out through the years, you and I together and everybody else that's in the military or got a job that constantly travels, you don't get the same invites anymore. You don't you're not in the same group chats anymore as everybody else. And it's not because it's because they don't like you. It's because, hey, why keep asking this person to come to something, but then they're not gonna be able to come? Why keep inviting this person if, hey, they're always too tired to work, or they're out on this mission, or they're doing X, Y, and Z, or hey, I know I wanted you to come to the wedding, but I don't know if you're gonna make it because I want you to be the best man, but then I don't want to put stock in you because guess what? I don't know if you're gonna go on mission. That's like the current situation me and you are in with, hey, you're about to retire. I know you want me to come. I know you want me to be there, but we don't, we don't we don't know what's going on. Every day is a surprise. Every day is a constant surprise. But you and I have a deeper friendship and understanding of that it's not, oh yeah, this situation is gonna pretty much dampen our friendship. But for some people, it's just that. And that's the same thing with relationships. Some relationships aren't meant to be what they are. Hey, once we're done with each other, there's no more talking. I'll see you when I see you. Hey, I wish you happy birthday when it comes up on Facebook. I'll reach out every once in a while. If you reach out, don't get me wrong, the number still will stay the same, and I'll make a call. I'll pick up the phone if you call. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? That's it. But
excuse me. I think also too, I don't know if people like regret certain relationships in a sense, but like I've also started to understand a lot of people in the military, like after like life after the military or even life after work, a lot of people just don't want to be bothered. Like, I had to really understand.
You don't really want to do anything.
But you also start thinking, I think because obviously the military, our life is pretty fast paced in a sense, right? With the way we have to move and act and be and trying to make it up the ranks and all this other stuff. Our life is pretty fast paced. So I think so by the time, if you do the retire, make it all the way, go to retirement and do your 20 years plus or whatever, a lot of times people like outside of work, man, I'm cool, bro. I'm off that. And I get it. I totally understand it. I don't regret that part of me because I need that. Like I need that social like disconnect from everything. Like I need that peace and quiet, or I need. But the thing I can regret is that I know I don't hit up I don't hit up some of the people I know that are like still kind of constant in my life, and I'm bad. That's where I need to work on. Like, right, just communicating. Like, hey man, how you doing? Like, I ain't talked in a while. Like that, I know that are solid people. I do regret that I don't do that enough. And I kind of picked that up when I was in Philly. Our cousin, her husband Spanky, man, Rob, dude, solid man. But he's like, hey man, every now and then I just hit people up, like just because, just to make sure they're good. And I'm like, I kind of took that. I was like, yeah, I need to do that. Like, I don't do that enough. And I have my core of people that I do talk to, but I don't do it enough. Like even on a weekly check, like it's text, like, hey, how you doing? Like whatever. I don't. So
I've got to that point to where, I randomly do this. Somebody crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be like, oh yeah, let me check and see what they're doing. Let me hit them with the text, or let me get on Facebook, shoot them a message, see if they respond, whatever, see how's it going. That's the big thing when somebody crosses my mind. Because I know people do the same thing sometimes whenever I cross their mind, they hit me up, they shoot me a text. I'll be like, oh yeah, hey, what's going on? It's been a while. How you doing? Blah blah. Have a good quick 30-minute conversation via text, via phone, and then hey, might not hear from them for months again and have zero problems with that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you because remember I told you that was one of my New Year goals is to get better on get back to talking to people on the phone and reaching out and doing texts, and then certain things happen. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I get it. Yeah, we can't really talk about it. I would just kind of bring it back before we kind of close this out. I am going to say one big thing. I do regret not building a mindset that I was going to do 20 years in the military when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's the one, like out of my total, I regret not trying to build that mindset early on. And at the end of the day, I can be like, oh, it was my leadership. It was me too. Like it was me. I was still growing up. Like I joined the military. I didn't even think the Navy was real. I didn't know there was fucking ships in there, which I was a kid coming from Arizona. So I, when I see my first big great floaty thing, and I was like, oh, that's a real ship. Oh, we're going through the Panama Canal now. Oh, this is like life. Like, oh, we're out here. Like, that's so like I didn't build that mindset probably almost realistically until like basically until I got to Bahrain.
Yeah.
Is when I felt like I was like, all right, I'm about to do 20 years. So let's just thug it out. Like if I wish I would have had that mindset, at least even after my second year mark of the Navy, I think things would be a little bit different as far as like my career goes, is my growth and putting on khakis on. I think I'd be a little bit further ahead than what I am. But hey, at the end of the day, man, I'm returned as the first Alexander in my family to do 20 years and put on khakis, so I'm not tripping. So it's all good.
And that's a good thing too, because
like
you, I probably that's one thing I do regret. After the first contract, I should have realized I should have locked in a little bit more.
Yeah.
I should have locked in a little bit more because by the time after I did the first contract and going into the second, I could have been a lot further. But once again, that was on me. That's decisions that I made. I regret it a little bit because but then that would have tied me down, not being able to come down to what I wanted to do. But the reason why I regret it the most is because I used that as an excuse to avoid doing, certain relationship issues. It's like, oh, why are you always working? Because I got to get here. I got to do this. I got to constantly work because otherwise if I don't work, I won't get the good eval or I won't get this. Versus just sitting down and especially my boyfriend, girlfriend type stuff, I probably could have been married by now. But I always chose work over trying to deal with problems in my relationship and building and being better and stuff like that. And I don't blame anyone for anything that happened or whatever way we went or making the decision of, hey, yo, look, we can't do this anymore. Because I remember one time talking to one young lady and she was like, hey, you're overseas, how would this work? Well, and I mapped out a whole plan and did X, Y, and Z, and it was like, and she was like, nah, because that doesn't work for me. The way I'm set up currently is I would need somebody here. Yes, you're doing your thing. I'm proud of you for doing your thing, but you gotta And I respect it, but that's not how I want to do a relationship. And don't get me wrong, I was mad at first and I was kind of hurt because I'm like, I could put the effort in and I did all this and X, Y, and Z. But then I had to sit down and realize it's like, that's not the way to, especially when you're trying to come up and do the talking stage and the dating stage. That's a lot to put somebody through. You know, the constant being gone or going into certain postures and you can't email or talk to anyone. Those big things. People say they understand and they can do it until it happens. And
Realistically,
then that's when the true test comes into it. You know,
realistically, the military does have the worst divorce ratings across the United States. I get it. Not that this shit ain't built, but it takes a strong man and woman to make it through a military career and have understanding and have like it takes a lot, especially as a man when you know like this is a career that can also not just benefit for you, benefit for your family after you do 20 years and some of the things that you can get, but it's I'll say this for most couples that make it through, kudos. And for those who don't, I understand. Like I get it. Like you hit your breaking points, and everybody's mind gets different. You get weary, and as you're growing up, you do some things that you probably regret, and then you know you're trying to. It is what it is, but it's all part of the growth process. That pain, that hurt, and all that stuff. It's all part of the growth process, whether you see it or not. Hopefully, it just doesn't take you to a point where you think the worst is the worst, and you do something harmful to yourself. But not to get
part. That's the big part too. We no. Let's not skip over it. Now we got to get deep into it because the problem is where we all mess up at. And I can tell you where we all mess up at is communication, like there, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing we need to focus on. And where people mess up at truly is, and I can tell you because I've done this from my own experience. You're thinking you're communicating something to someone, and you're not going into the level of explanation that you need to because you feel like, oh well, this person understands where I'm coming from, or that person is like, hey yo, I'm not stupid. Don't treat me like I'm stupid. Look, that's when you just take a breath and step back and it's like, look, let me explain this to you, right? This is how this is gonna go. This is how this is gonna play out. This is how. And this is not you telling them this is the rules and this is the things. No, I'm telling you, this is how my career looks. This is what my job is. Yes, I get Cody gets to go home every day, but me and Cody don't do the same job. Me and Cody don't have the same responsibilities. I watched a friend who was dating somebody that was in the Navy, and they ended up breaking up because she told her, you work too much. We're on a great floaty thing. And her significant other at the time was on shore duty in the States. And we already know how shore duty in the States is. It's a 9 to 5. Yeah, it's a 9 to 5. No disrespect. Yeah. But she was like, oh, you guys work too much. You're underweight. But what she didn't realize was we are undermanned. And we had to put in the hours to get ready to go do these things. And a lot of people don't understand it. Don't get me wrong, you have the people who don't want to go home and they try to stay at work because of whatever issues and problems at home. But once again, that deals with communication. And where you gotta communicate like, wait, understand this. I don't want to bring the problems from work to home. And there's a lot of people who segregate that. But sometimes you have to have that conversation because if you don't, you're going to get conversations like, well, you never talk to me. You never tell me what's going on. And I hear all this other stuff.
Yeah. And that's when all the regretful things start happening.
Yeah. But
I think we can go on a whole episode about communication because I got my own personal bit about it. So we could save most of that for another episode 100%. We can go way deep down the weeds of that because the thing, like I said, that vacation gave me a lot of retrospective perspective. Still working to be a better man. I'm a growing man. I'm not a grown man. I'm a growing man. So, but any closing thoughts on regrets?
You said something. You said something earlier about your trip when your wife's cousin had asked you, why haven't you started this? that goes into that goes back. That brought me back to a lot of things that I could have started, or a lot of things that I could have done. But I was like, let me wait till the next rank call, or let me wait till the next command. That was like us with the podcast. Oh, let's wait till this happened, or let's wait till this is perfect. None's ever going to be perfect at the end of the day. Once again, nothing's ever going to be perfect. That relationship is never going to be perfect. That job offer is never going to be perfect. Just go ahead and do it and see what happens. Because if you don't, you're going to wait so far into the game. Then when you do it, or you get rejected at that time, you don't know how you're going to respond to it. Or if you fail, you don't know how you're going to respond to it. It's like, oh, well, I knew I shouldn't have did it. Or it's going to take you a little bit longer. In reality, we could have been, I'm going to tell you right now, we could have been 100 episodes in if we would have started during COVID. If we literally would have just did what we did and said we was going to start when we was going to start, instead of making the excuses of, hey, look, there's this, or we figured we had to do all these things, we could have been a lot farther. Am I harping on it? No, I'm not harping on it, but that is something I look back on when we start recording and we're doing this and we're pushing forward, and it's like, oh man, we could have been a lot further in the game, but we made excuses. And that's like anything else. I can tell you in my career, because you talk about it all the time. It's like, I feel like I could be a lot farther. I look back. Everybody has regrets because they look back at the situation. They look back at the time. I can tell you, what was it? The first time I was out here. First time I was out in Bahrain, I was offered a position. I didn't take that position because I didn't feel like I was ready. My current chief at the time felt like I was ready, and he was going to help me and push me and train me how to be better. And I was just like, there's no way to put it. I was just afraid because I felt like I was going to fail and I was going to do some other stuff that I shouldn't have. And that's how it played out. But what really could have happened is I took that position, got where I needed to be, and then when I showed up to a different command, I would have been better off instead of still trying to learn. Don't get me wrong, you're still learning with all these positions, no matter it be in leadership, small, or whatever. You're still learning. You're going to learn something new from people every day. Putting yourself in those positions, stepping out there and not being afraid to stop you, you'll have little to no regret. You'll be like, oh man, yeah, I jumped out of plane, I skydived, and that's what it is. Jumping out the plane sometime and going with it.
I think for me, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to step out on faith and just do it. So that way, yeah, like you said, you have less regretful moments. We talked about the podcast for a while. Could we be 100? We could probably be more than 100 episodes in. We're at 30 now. You know what I'm saying? And we started talking about the podcast and during COVID. So that was over 3 years ago. I guess, realistically, we don't know where our growth would be at with the Kickback community and Grumpy Gills and all. We don't know where that would be at. But, at the end of the day, we still did, at least, even when we didn't want to really start it late last year, we did it, and I do feel like we're progressing, and we won't have that whole of regret, like, damn, we never even started it. So, yeah. And that's what you still got to realize. Like, yeah, you may have a moment of regret that you missed this opportunity. That doesn't mean you can't go back and try and get it. Like, you just, like, even like with the clothing brand thing, like, I'm going back and try to get it and try something different. At the end of the day, when it comes to regret, you're always going to live with regret. It's just a matter of how much you want to keep holding on to it and then finally take your freaking belt off and put fucking boot to butt and just do it. So there is those less regretful moments, and you're not laying at 80 years old in your bed like, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have. I don't even care if my brain don't blow up as well as in my head how I wanted to. At least I did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here trying. Most people, you'd be surprised how many people get dreams and don't even try. But with that, I ain't else. Love, peace, chicken grease. Grumpy Gills. Oh,
much love.
Love, peace, chicken grease. We out.